Oh my god, I'm back. Hey y'all, I really missed you guys, and I really missed like making these videos and showing you guys the techniques, again, what my channel is based upon. So I am back and I'm ready. In the previous video, I alluded to the fact that we were gonna finish our 7-part aromatic series ending on the German Mirepoix, and that's what we're gonna do today. Let's jump right in and let's get started. The German Mirepoix is really cool because it is very simple but full of flavor. In the French Mirepoix, we saw it consist of a ratio of 2 to 1 to 1, which is 2 parts onion, 1 part carrot, and 1 part celery. And this made all the flavor basis for sauces, soups, and the French style cuisine. But if we go over to Germany, we would see about the same thing, but a little bit different. It consists of a bundle of a leek, a carrot, and a piece of celery. They typically will use celery root, the base of where the celery grows, as a flavor component for their Suppengrün, their German Mirepoix, because it has such intense flavor, whereas the celery has less flavor. The root really takes the soups and sauces to another level in their own type of cooking. You can also find different parcels that contain aromatics, such as parsley, thyme, rutabaga, parsley root, and onions. It all depends on where you live and the recipe. So in today's video, I'm gonna be using celery because I cannot find celery root. And if you live in Germany, would you please comment down below and let me know if this is true? That would be awesome. Thank you. Today's recipe, focusing on the German Mirepoix, also known as the Suppengrün, is Kartoffelsuppe. Kartoffel means potato in German, and soup obviously means soup. This is a very ingredient heavy recipe, but it comes together pretty quickly in about 30 minutes. So we're gonna be focusing on our knife skills. So get a sharp knife and get all your ingredients. The recipe is gonna be linked in the description box below. And you can actually add any other type of vegetables that you have in your fridge that might be going bad that you just wanna throw into the soup. Now that you got all of your ingredients, we're gonna be focusing on our cutting technique number 1, which is slicing. Everything we're gonna be cutting today, it's important to break it down. Break it down into easier workable pieces. So I'm slicing it down the length of the ingredient so it's able to be stable. Did that just rhyme? I think so. As you can see, the root and inside the leaves, in between the leaves, are very dirty because that's just how the leek grows. You want to give that a good wash, lob off the end, and then we're going to slice, which is a simple crosswise cut, through the leek into bite-sized pieces, since this soup is going to be cooked in 30 minutes or less. And you're going to continue to slice all the way from root to tip until everything is chopped in about a small or bite-sized piece. Moving on to the celery. Since I don't have the celery root, I'm simply shaving off any kind of dirt that I may see visible where the celery root and celery grew out of. Now go really slow, shave off what you need to shave off. If you're using celery, if you're using celery root, you're gonna have to peel that, clean it really well, and you might be dicing that, but we'll get to that later. And here I'm just making simple crosswise cuts where the tip of the blade is leading and then the base of the blade is coming down after the tip of the blade has led. And note, my non-dominant hand is using the claw grip to make sure all the celery is close together.
Whoa.
You always want to stabilize whatever you're cutting. I have the base of the celery flush to the cutting board so I don't cut myself. Remember, go slow, and stability is always key. All right, check out your fingers because we need a lighter grip and a lighter slice whenever we are slicing aromatic or delicate herbs, such as this parsley or basil. You want to go light on your slice, and it's important to have a sharp knife here for that reason, because we don't want any of the flavor to go onto our cutting board from pressing really hard into whatever we're slicing. This also goes for the stems as well. You just want a clean cut. You can add these if you want. They're full of flavor and vitamins and nutrition, but you don't have to if you don't want to. You can actually save them for stock for another day. I really love mushrooms. I love slicing them. I love the way their flavor is. They're just a really good way to practice your knife skills, get a little bit more confident. If you don't feel confident to do this speed, don't do it. I'm using it as a visual guide. The recipe did not call for mushrooms, but since I love mushrooms and they're in my fridge, I'm gonna incorporate them because they're healthy. So do this as well. New cutting board, who dis? So I got a new cutting board since we're slicing raw meat. With the non-dominant hand still using that claw grip, I'm able to stabilize the bacon as best as possible while using clean cuts with the slicing technique. The blade of the knife should glide if you have a sharp knife. Which is leading to our technique number 2, mincing. When you hear the word mince in a recipe or read the word mince, think tiny. Mincing is about getting your food as tiny as possible. First, you're going to finely chop up your ingredient. That can be rough, that can be formal. Here I'm doing a rough chop, actually a rough smash right here. And then I'm going to be mincing it into fine pieces. So with your dominant hand on the handle of the knife and the non-dominant hand on top of the spine of the blade, you begin to rock back and forth to get even finer pieces. This technique is often used for garlic, but sometimes you might need to do it for an onion or other ingredients that you want to melt into your finished dish. Oh boy, that is a clean cut.
Yes.
Moving on to technique number 3, that is chopping. You hear this term all the time in the kitchen or on YouTube videos or from your favorite chef. Basically, with chopping, you're transforming larger pieces of food into smaller pieces of food. You're going to slice the onion into 2 halves and peel off the outermost tough skin of the onion. But don't throw it away, use it for broths or stock. While keeping the root intact, slice vertically down the onion with a small space in between each cut, from one end to the other. Place your hand on top of the onion and make straight horizontal cuts all the way to the root. Then the fun part begins. Take your knife and make straight vertical cuts, making chopped pieces. These are going to be perfect in size, and you're going to repeat the process again until you get to the root. You have perfectly diced onions with very little waste. But you can also save the root, wash it, and then put it into your next broth or stock. We're all about working smarter, not harder, guys, okay? On to technique number 4, and that is cubing. Cubing your food is simply chopping your food, spoiler alert, into uniform cubes. Yes, they are typically equal on all sides. I love chopping ingredients this way. And cubing your food is larger than dicing. Chopping is about a medium-sized cube, if you will. This technique makes the final dish of whatever you're cubing look really, really nice for presentation. And you'll see that at the end of this video. And also, it makes a really great snack. Let me show you a trick of how to prevent a lot of tomato food waste. So to cut off the area where the tomato grew, you're going to cut 2 diagonal cuts to make a triangle that part that you don't want will come out easily. This is great to learn if you don't want to just be chopping off the entire top of a tomato and then just throw it away because you could still eat that. Try this technique and let me know what you think. So just like our potato, you're going to be cubing the tomato the exact same way. Just like this, equal pieces. I wasn't even trying, pat on the back. It is important to note that even though I'm cubing this tomato, it's going to break down naturally in the soup because it's a fleshier vegetable and it's not going to withstand the 30-minute time. This is simply to practice cubing, so you can use whatever technique you want on your tomatoes. And our final cutting technique, number 5, is the rondelle, also known as a coin-sized cut. You're going to top and tail our carrot. You're going to cut your coin slices into small cuts, again, equal, that are about bite-sized. Here I am stabilizing the carrot at the root and rondelling the carrot from the top to the tail. Take a deep breath because you are finally done. I just wanted to take the time to show you guys how gorgeous all this prep is. And you guys did it. Look at that, look at that. Got a whole sheet pan here just full of all of the goodies that we just cut, and I'm so excited to start cooking it. So let's continue, and good job on you for making it this far. And here comes the easy part. To a medium to large stock pot, you're going to turn the heat onto medium-high and add, without any oil, the bacon to your pot. Why do we not add any oil? Because we already have enough oil or fat that's going to render out in this next technique, which is called browning. Okay, I know you've heard of this technique before. Browning is the process of partially cooking the surface of meat to help remove excess fat and to give the meat a brown colored crust and flavor through the various browning reactions that take place. According to an article in the Modernist Cuisine, one of the most important flavor producing reactions in cooking is the Maillard reaction, which comes out of browning. So you can see here there are these little brown bits at the bottom of the pot, and this is where flavor lives through the browning process of the Maillard reaction taking place. This is a crucial step in the foundations of good cooking because you're actually transforming a raw product, the bacon, into something even deeper than just regularly cooking it on the stove for a couple of minutes. After the bacon has been browning for 6 to 8 minutes and you have a really nice crust forming, then we're gonna add in our onions to go sweat until they're translucent. Why do we sweat the onions? Because the onions will soften and release their moisture and flavor at their own pace. So then the onions cook in their own juices on top of all of the flavors that we've just built on the bottom from the Maillard reaction of the bacon with the flavors and aromas that it's produced. When the onions are translucent, we're gonna be adding our garlic and letting that get nice and aromatic and fragrant for about a minute. Give it a good stir and begin to scrape off the bottom brown bits, that is all flavor, before we add in our liquid. Our liquid is going to be in the form of chicken stock, and right when it hits the bottom of this hot pan, the releasing is going to take place of all those brown bits with the help of us scraping the bottom of it with our wooden spoon. So don't forget to do that step before you really pile all the vegetables on top. After you've done that I did not video obviously, but I did, is you're gonna put all of your vegetables, all of your hard worked and hard won, chopped, sliced vegetables into your stock pot. And don't forget to add your seasonings like salt and pepper. I do a good 15 to 20 turns with the fresh pepper. You're gonna add your thyme and your rosemary, and you can add any type of dried herb that you like here because the 30-minute time is going to allow a gentle release of the herbs into the soup. We only want to add the dry herbs, not our freshly chopped parsley. Because the parsley is so delicate, we don't want to ruin the flavors in 30 minutes because then they'll fall flat. You won't get to taste what the parsley has to offer when it's very fresh. So give this a good stir and make sure everyone is invited to the party. Bring that up to a boil, and in about 5 to 10 minutes, it's going to look like this. It's going to reduce in size. We want to reduce our heat to about medium low and put a lid on it, and we're going to simmer this for the next 25 minutes. After about 20 or 25 minutes, you'll know your soup is done when the harder vegetables like this carrot here, a spoon can go straight through it without any resistance. And then at the very end, you're going to then stir in your parsley because we want to save the beautiful color, the aromatics, the fragrance that it can give to the final product, and give this a really good stir to incorporate all the parsley in and allow that residual heat to release all of its delicate flavors into the soup. The only thing left to do is to eat this. So get you a bowl, get you a little bit of that garnish of parsley, put it on top, and look at your final dish. You see the cubes? You see the cube potatoes? In about 30 to 40 minutes, you have a nutritious, delicious soup. Gotta cool it down because I'm not trying to get burnt today, okay? I mean, can you really go wrong with bacon, potatoes, onions, and other things that make this so good? No. But I hope you guys enjoyed the last video, finally, of our aromatic series. It's been a blast, so fun to research all these different countries, Mirepoix, and how it infuses with their culture and how it's defined their even food culture. And I've had a really awesome time. So without further ado, I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Subscribe, like the video if you got value out of it, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.